Hey everybody, how are you? Pastor Troy and I are here going live. We have an awesome topic we want to talk to you guys about today. We want to kind of share with you guys. He went on and told you guys we were going live. I'm just trying to get it to my page also, so you guys can pick up and give you a couple minutes to get in the room. How y'all doing out there? We got a great topic on today that we're going to be talking about today. So let me just share this. I'm glad it's not as cold and the snow has gone away. All right, here we go. I see David's here. How you doing, David Robinson?
What's up, David? Bible study gonna be crazy tonight, man.
Oh my goodness, yes it is.
We got men's and women's Bible study tonight. We actually gonna have an open floor tonight, so bring your questions, bring your comments. We're gonna have a good time.
Hey, Vakisha, how are you?
What's up, Keish?
How you doing at work? Glad you guys could take a couple minutes to be with us, so we can talk about a topic that not only Pastor Troy and I have encountered as we do some of our marriage coaching, not just our embrace, but sometimes when we deal with couples directly and they come in for a coaching session to help them strengthen their marriage, make their marriage better, we find that there's a topic.
Not even marriages, I want to say relationships.
Relationships
even people
also.
that are dating that don't want to come in for coaching before they get married. We find out that these are topics that people have a hard time with. And we did a live not too long ago, and we got some inboxes. We had asked for some suggestions, and we got some inboxes that talked about this. So today we're going to talk about hard topics for couples to discuss. Yes, hard topics for couples to discuss. How you doing, Deacon Pat? How are you? So we have 7 that we feel are the top 7 that we've heard about.
That we've heard about.
Or that we've dealt with over the last 16 years of coaching people. And marriage, probably the top 7 that we've heard. But while we're doing this live, make sure you put up there topics that you find difficult to talk about.
Yes.
So if there's things that you find difficult to talk about, let us know. And we'll try to make sure we grab that topic and look at it and mention it while we're going through the live as well.
Hey, Martin Peace, how are you?
Hey, Martin, what's up, man?
Good afternoon. So these are the 7 that we've heard from different people that we've dealt with the most. But again, like Pastor Troy said, if you find that for some reason there are other ones, we want to talk about it, we want to discuss, we want you guys to give us feedback. How you doing, Calvin Hart? We also find
that's
that
DJ Cal right there.
DJ Cal?
Yeah, he's one of the premier DJs in the city. What's up, Cal?
How are you? I see Sean Talley on there. I'm not going to be able to shout out everybody. You know, I got my over 40
school too. What's up, Sean?
My over 40 eyes on, and for some reason, Pastor Troy thinks that
I don't have my glasses on.
He doesn't need his glasses.
What can I say? Who's that?
That's TT.
Oh, hey, TT. All right, so let's get started, Pastor. We can jump right into this.
With her watching.
We can jump right into this.
All right, so hard topics for couples to discuss. And is this in any order, or are we just listing what we...
What's up, the first one? The first one probably is the number one thing.
Okay, but it's not necessarily, as we go through these, they're not in order.
You can rank them though for us, and the ranking on your comments, you can rank them and let us know what you think.
Absolutely. So number 1 that we're going to be talking about today is a hard thing to talk about as a couple or discuss is sex. Sex. And what do we mean by that? Like, you know, when you're dealing with sex, sometimes issues with sex, dissatisfaction with sex.
What you want.
What you're looking for, what you're not getting.
What you're not getting. Sometimes we have couples come in and they'll talk about all these other things and everything that's going on. And then we get down to the bottom line, we'll find out that somebody is dissatisfied in the area of sex. It's boring. We do the same thing each time. He ain't no good. She ain't no good. Like, it can get really hairy, and we find out that most times they wait to get to the coaching session so they can have somebody else in the room when they say it. So they make sure that when they say it, it doesn't come off how it probably would if they were alone. Mm-hmm. You know, or they might feel like the inappropriate time, like after we just had it, you know, then it's just like, that was horrible. Like, that was just horrible. And it's like, how do you communicate that the person that you're with, or the person that you really, really love, there's so many other things you love about them, but the sex just really isn't good, or it's not imaginative, or it's not creative, or it's not spicy.
Or it's not what you're looking for. We found that many times we're creatures of habit, and sometimes what you've been used to, you're looking for some of the same things. The body has muscle memory and different things like that when you're dealing with sexual experiences. So sometimes, being open or being able to express to your spouse, literally, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I need. This is what I've been getting that was pleasurable to me that I may not be getting now. When's a good time to talk about it? How comfortable are you? And I think the relationship really predicates how that person is going to feel comfortable to talk to that person, or the response that you're going to get. I don't want to give it too soon, but we found some key things that we're going to release a little later that help people be able to talk, find good times to talk, and feel more comfortable.
Especially when we deal with the non-married couples, some of them have been into porn or masturbation and stuff like that. So then when they get to marriage or relationship, or they're with somebody at the next level, they cannot reach the same climaxes that they reached by themselves. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like, like she said, muscle memory will put you in a certain place where it's like, you ain't doing nothing for me. You ain't making it happen for me. And they don't know how to talk about it. And it's tearing their relationship apart because they're fussing about everything else except for that issue. And they may need to go to a sex therapist. They may need to go to a psychologist to talk about some of the issues and problems in that area. But you got to have the conversation. If you don't have the conversation, your relationship is going to spiral because the Bible tells us that we are not to defraud our spouse of sex, but for a small season. And that's only for fasting and praying. And there are a lot of people who are not having sex, who are not fasting and praying. They fasting and praying. They don't find it pleasurable anymore. You know what I mean? And you have to find a way to reignite that throughout your relationship to make that work. And sometimes, we talk about trying on the shoe before we wear it. Sometimes that could be the Achilles heel. Because once you try on that shoe, you've tried on that shoe with 4 different people that didn't marry you. When you finally find a person that you want to marry and they can't perform like the other 4 people you were with, hard to talk about that. Hard to talk about that. So we sex was number 1 on that list of things hard to talk about. Number 2, money. Money. Why is money hard to talk about?
I think a lot of times because when there's a lack of it, there is the feeling of, if I say something, how is that person going to take it? Are they taking it as, I don't contribute to the money situation? I'm not providing. You're not doing a good job. So are you spending all the money? Like, what are the issues really behind why we struggle to talk to that other person about money? Because I think a lot of times people automatically become defensive and feel like you're blaming me.
What about those people that have the premier job, and the premier job is held by the woman versus the man?
Oh, definitely.
And the woman's making, $100,000, $85,000 a year, and the man is making 25 or 30. Sometimes we found that conversation is really tough because for some reason, I guess the couple of things, the man is no longer the lead because he makes less money. When the Bible doesn't make a requirement for how much money you make to be the head of the house. And then the head of the house doesn't mean I lord my power over my spouse. But sometimes when that money situation is slanted and the wife is making a lot more, or even, let's take for instance, if the wife is more educated, has more options, she's been a college grad, which we find a lot. And the woman that makes more money doesn't usually have the problem having the conversation. It's usually the man that has the problem having the conversation because he feels like, she might try to attack him with the fact that she makes more money and all that kind of stuff. Why are you laughing?
I'm just laughing at some of the comments I see. Madishian saying that's good, and Lauren let's talk about it, Pastor.
Well, because I find that when it comes to relationships, a lot of women that make a lot of money, for some reason, have a hard time finding a guy.
Absolutely.
And
they feel intimidated a lot of times because biblically, the man's role is to provide. And I think that you have to have the concept of understanding that you are one flesh. So it does not mean that if the man does not make the most money, he's not providing. And I think that those are stereotypes that sometimes we fall into that make it harder for us as a relationship, because we're looking for that man. Like if I make 6 figures, what you gonna do with your little, 60,000? That's not gonna help.
See, that whole concept, even the way you
I
said
said
it, like,
I know.
that low 60,000. Like,
that's
what?
not my thought pattern. That's how
I know it's not. I'm just saying that's how we've heard it. That's how we've heard it.
Absolutely.
And it's not even that. I know you don't feel that way. But
No.
it's just like, but that's how it actually comes out of the mouths of the people that we sit in the coaching sessions with.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And the man starts to feel like a project.
Absolutely.
So he don't even deal with money. He just give her whatever money is. This is one of our pet peeves. Whatever part of money he got to give to the budget. It's like, that's y'all money. It's not her money or his money. I know y'all ain't gonna like that. It's not,
I got you, TT. I'm gonna come to you too.
It's not your money or his money. It's
I'm
our
borrowing
money.
from you.
Can I borrow $20 from your
goodness.
wife? I ain't gonna borrow $20.
It's your money.
I ain't gonna borrow $20 from my wife.
to
It's
both of
y'all. It belongs to the two of you. It's yours together. So I don't, that. And see, money talks will mess up the sex talks.
Absolutely.
Because we can't figure out how the money's gonna be spent, or if the man feel like he's under the thumb, or the woman. Like the flip side of that is when a man is making a lot of money, sometimes he treats it and divvies it out like it's an allowance.
And that's what TT said. What happens when the woman is not able to make her share or do her share because maybe she's on disability or she's sick or there's some injuries, or vice versa. Sometimes you have men that are dealing with that, and you may rag them as a stay-at-home dad or whatever, but there's some reason why you feel like you can't pull your part, and then you feel like that person is lording over you the same way.
Premaritally, and this is just by osmosis, it wasn't something that we teach it now, but it was by osmosis that we did it. Premaritally, me and Pastor Trina had a joint account.
Absolutely.
So I had money and I had an account prior to us getting together, and she had money, she had an account prior to getting together. But my choice was, if I'm going to really trust this woman with my life and raising my children, if she's my choice to be my wife, then I need to start practicing the ability for us to work together when it comes to our money. Now, let me explain something to you. That is not a perfect science, because I like to spend, and she's really the administrator in the house. Now, I'll go out and make as much money as possible. I will grind, work 80 jobs to bring in money if that's what I need to do. But then I like to spend. So we had to figure out who was better at what, and come up with that to figure out the money woes. But we have a weekly meeting, budgeting meeting, every week.
And I want to say to my singles, the reason why I did that with him is because I knew he was the one. I had tons of boyfriends before that I didn't open up an account with. I wasn't naive just doing that to anybody that I was in relationship with. I knew he was the one, and I was at the place where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of dealing with these guys that weren't ready for a relationship. I was ready for the next level. I didn't want to play games. And when you get to that point, you shouldn't be in, you got to court to know what you like in the beginning, but eventually you come to a point where if I'm in a relationship with you, I want to start practicing what we need to do so that we can really be one flesh and be married. Also, we recognize that sometimes as singles, we miss a lot of opportunities because, and I'm not saying you look for the worst project in the world and say, I'm just going to save him out and make him whole and all of that. Not
the
going to
right
happen.
mindset, right.
He's got to have his own Adam stuff, and he has to have his own. You have to have your own. But I really think that sometimes as singles, we're looking for this savior or this guy on a white horse, and he has to have everything together, and we miss great opportunities of God directing us on who we're supposed to be connected to for destiny marriages and things of that nature. So like you said, it wasn't a perfect science. We had to figure out what worked for us and how we could come together so we could get the best benefit out of us being
one of the prayers on the money issue when it comes to relationship is ask God to show you their motive.
Yeah.
He'll show you. If a dude is trying to use you for your credit, ask God to show you their motive. If a guy is trying to use you because he needs to get an apartment and he knows his apartment, his numbers ain't good, God, show me the motive. It will come up quickly.
Absolutely.
It'll show itself quickly. The first time you say no, you're going to see the anger on their face. You're going to see the attitude turn when you can't do something that really they should be working on doing on their own. And if you want to get in a relationship with a project, get in a relationship with a project, don't marry a project.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tammy.
Figure out how to fix things first before you actually get into the marital situation. Once you're in the marital situation, you may need to go to a money counselor. Somebody can help you with budgeting and stuff like that, but you need to be meeting once a week to talk about money, at least once a week.
Robert Stone said that role models have to be defined, period, no matter who makes the most. They have to be defined ahead of time, and that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
You have to figure out who's going to do what, how you're going to work together, whose role is who does what better, and then be okay with when that changes, because it's not going to always stay the same. Sometimes the woman may be making more money, but then she can't work the way she was before, and vice versa. The man may be making more money and he can't do what he did before.
You know how many people have walked into our office bawling out, both the couples are bawling out, and then one falls into a medical situation? Mm-hmm. And now those even the biblical rules are challenged because of what needs to be done. So as a couple, we need to be in agreement that we're going to work together. Absolutely. And whatever that means if I have to become the cook and the cleaner and the person that washes clothes while you're working a full-time job to provide for the house, then we do what's necessary to make that happen until I can either get back on my feet. There's some cases we've had some people that have been disabled that can't go back to a regular job.
Absolutely.
So then, if I am, I want you to know your role, but if I'm bound by that role all the way, it becomes frustration for me. And we got some men that we've coached through that process. Like, listen, dude, you can't do it anymore. So your wife has to be. Your wife's a RN, dude. She's making $120,000 a year. So let's do something else. Let's maybe invest in some property or something that'll make you feel worthwhile. Because I think that's the biggest part of it is I want to feel like I'm contributing, and there's a way to get that done. All right, so we just kind of running through these appearance. Woo-wee. And this may seem like a small one and a shallow one, but we're gonna talk about it anyway. How you look.
Absolutely.
How you
said
look.
something good. We're gonna get to that anyway later.
Well, you want to do it now?
No.
Okay. How you look? Don't be sexy when I meet you and be grandmom after I marry you. That ain't gonna work. You got to keep up the sexy. I'm gonna put appearance, and then I'm gonna do the next one right together with weight. Mm-hmm. We talked about weight too. That becomes a conversation.
And we did those separately. Why did you do those separately?
Because there's some really fly, thick chicks out there. Mm-hmm. There's some girls that carry their weight well, dress nice, look nice. And then there's other ones that they don't. And then there's some slimmer women that may even have a Coca-Cola body, but they got on pink socks with orange sneakers. And they got these hormone glasses on with grandma curlers, and and the man loves them to death, loves them to life, but he just like, she can't dress, and it takes away from the attraction.
I think relationships you have to realize it's not just about what you like and how you feel. It's about being able to make sure that you are also making your significant other happy. Also, their expectations, what they're looking for. There's plenty of times Pastor has certain glasses that he just loves to wear, and I just be like, oh, I don't like those glasses. But I have to give him opportunity when he wants to wear them, but he also has to keep that in his mind that might not be her favorite pair. So he's not going to wear them every day.
On a date.
On a date.
We're going out to look in each other's eyes.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to wear my Urkel glasses.
I think being respectful, that's his real smart. It's
my smart glasses. I want to look like I'm studious.
And when he's in a smart environment, I love them on him. But there's a season for everything. So
take for instance, you may not be comfortable. Maybe you're the lady that like I do my real hair. I don't do no fake hair. I don't do that kind of stuff. And I was like, the first time Pastor Trina went blonde, I almost lost my mind. We were talking the other day. She was getting her hair done, and she tried something blonde, and you said you flipped it back in the air, and the guy was with his girl. What happened? What he did?
I was getting my hair together. I go to my
I like how you did that. Together. Go ahead.
My hair together. Go to my favorite little shop. They treat me real well. I go in one way, come out the other. But I was trying on some hair, and it was a blonde wig, and literally I was in the mirror doing some things, and it was really long. So when I flipped it back over, he was just like, oh my God, that's just beautiful. It looks amazing. And then I'm just like, the way it was, it made me feel awkward, because especially he was with somebody else.
It was with his girl, right?
So then she peeked back and she was like, it's all right. Like, what you going on crazy for? And I realized that, certain hair, they have certain mindsets. It attributes certain thoughts. And he was just like excited by this blonde hair, but
you should have probably shot up some bells in her hair, like,
maybe I need to get some blonde hair. Some blonde hair, excited about
some red hair, something. Maybe something. And one of my thought processes: if nobody else is looking at her, you probably don't want her.
Right.
If like, I'm not saying they can have her, But she shouldn't be just attractive to you. Like, she should just be attractive, you know. And one of the signs that you have a really attractive person is not only are you looking at her, but other people are looking at her too. You know, and that works the other way. You know, if I go outside with some high water jeans on and stuff like that, and, you know, I'm looking crazy, you know, I represent her. She represents me. I like for Pastor to put lip gloss on. You know, I like for her to wear certain hair, certain dresses that I like. And that's not predicated on her weight or her size or anything. Like, we know, and we talk about level of confidence. Mm-hmm. You make a woman feel confident when you can find the right thing for her to put on appearance-wise. Now, when we start talking about weight, though, I got a question. How do you deal, or how do you ever tell a woman that, you know, you may want her to lose some weight, or that she's gained some weight? Is there a proper way to have that conversation? I need to know. So maybe you can tell me. And maybe you can tell us, maybe somebody over here can tell us, what's the proper way for a man to tell you that you didn't gain a couple pounds, you know? And yes, we know you have children, and yes, we know all of that. But is there a way, or is there a proper time to have that conversation?
Well, I know I would love to hear the challenge, but I had said to you earlier when you had said that, I said, I think sometimes guys aren't always honest. Dave Robinson said, no, guys aren't always honest with their expectations. So sometimes they get frustrated. So is your motive to say I gained a couple pounds? Because a couple pounds, I may think, oh, okay. You know, for me, I'd be like, oh, okay, yep, a couple pounds, I did. But if it's a pressure point, if you're dissatisfied, or you think that maybe we need to go to the gym, you know, in certain times with the right, Martin said, not at all. Lauren said to be honest about it. Be respectful. That's what I was about to say. Be respectful. And it should be an honest conversation. Like, hey, babe, you know, I know you got a lot going on. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. You probably already know. But, you know, I'm going to the gym and I'm losing some weight. I was wondering if there's anything that you might be interested in doing. You know your spouse or your significant other. So you got to figure out the way that you say it and how she's going to receive it. You know, if you've been together for a year, you might not know that. You know, Pastor Troy knows. He just tell me, hey, babe, we need to go to the gym. I'll be like, oh, you need to go to the gym? No, we both need to go to the gym. So I'll be like, I'm going, boom, boom. Alarm's going to go on. You know, there's something going on. He need me to go to the gym with him. And I'm not going to get offended by it, because I'd rather he be honest with me and tell me that than to be holding all that in. Now, back to what, and I'm still looking at what everybody's saying, back to what Gabby said, you know, about meetings. She talked about it, and it was in the situation with the finances, having weekly meetings, budget meetings. I think a lot of times that's what you have to do. You have to schedule time to communicate, to talk, and just where there is no frustration. You're not doing it on the tail end of an argument, but you're literally saying to somebody, D said, we know before y'all do when we've gained weight. So D saying, we already know we gained weight, so you ain't got to tell us, basically is what she's saying.
I'll get to that. Go ahead, keep going.
But you have these meetings where you can talk to each other and communicate and be honest, and I think that's the important thing. But a lot of times what frustrates it is there's other issues that's going on that doesn't allow you. So where you normally would feel comfortable talking about weight, finances, appearance, or whatever, there's other underlying issues. Maybe somebody's laid off. Maybe somebody's injured. Maybe somebody's sick. Just things that have piled up, and it's not comfortable to talk about what you need to talk about. And I always say, you just got to have that hard conversation. I'm okay with being the wicked witch.
You got to have it. Like one of the things on the list, and y'all probably going to be like, what? Is he serious? Odor.
Yeah.
Like, we've had multiple times when people come in and talk about their spouse's breath, their body odor, vaginal areas, like all that kind of stuff. And it's like, they'll say, can I just talk to you alone, Pastor Troy? And I say, sure. And they'll be like, listen, this is the issue that we're having. And I'll be like, wow, for real? I said, you haven't talked about it? No. You know, you need to bring that up. You need to have that conversation, because it could be something health-wise that you're not paying attention to. You know?
So what happens when you give the hint? You know, I've had people ask me when you give people the hint and they don't get it. Like, I think a lot of times
you gotta tell them.
You have to tell them and be honest. You can't
hint
around to it. You know, you give somebody a piece of gum and they be like, What you give me that for? I don't need that. And you're like, yes, you do.
I ask the question. I'm like,
Pastor
I
he's
said,
funny. He be
she
like,
asked me to go, my birthday? Tell me my birthday. I want to know my birthday to let me know. And it's important because we found out that sometimes after the conversation, after we've had the coaching session, we have the conversation and get the spouse through the conversation, whether it be male or female, we find out somebody had a bad tooth.
right.
So
Hey, Pastor Fitzgerald.
the breath issue wasn't that they just had bad breath or they wasn't brushing their teeth. They actually had an abscess or a bad tooth or something was going on in their mouth. Or we found out they had IBD or stomach problems. So, all that stuff was coming back up. And it was because we had to have the real conversation to get them to the place where they would actually go to the doctor. I told Pastor Trina, that should have been on the list. Like talking to your male spouse about going to the doctor, because men just don't go to the doctor. But, we found that out. We found out that the woman actually had to go to the doctor, get a pap smear, and make sure that she was okay down there because she may have been having some issues. So it's just, or find out that she hadn't had a pap smear in years.
Right.
Like, it's like, what are you doing?
Right.
And the husband was so detached from her physical body other than sex, he wasn't even thinking that he needed to help her with that. So if you smell it, somebody else smell it too.
Absolutely.
Talking about teeth and talking about hair loss and all of that stuff, those vanity points when it comes to appearance, there are some guys that are freaking out because they're losing their hair. They feel like they're not masculine anymore, and it's a sign of being old, especially when a man loses his hair early, like in his 20s and his 30s. Mm-hmm. Sometimes guys don't adjust well to that. So, bro, you need to have a conversation with like, babe, do you still find me attractive? I mean, I'm losing my hair, I'm this and that, like, how do you feel? Because they may need that positive reinforcement. And it's crazy. Like, you would think that that's not a big deal, but it's really a big deal from a sex appeal standpoint for a man.
Absolutely.
And we have some women that are dealing with alopecia and different issues. And, comedians make jokes about wigs and all that kind of stuff, but they don't really understand that some women have to wear them, whether they had chemo, whether they had alopecia, whether they're having some kind of skin problem.
Medicines they're on.
All of that's
that
important.
Plays a part into
all that's important. And if you're not sharing with your spouse what's really going on, sometimes that'll cause you a problem. If I say anything that we can jump on?
Pastor Fitzgerald, we would have loved to come down. Anytime you hear something, that's one of our lanes, really dealing with marriage stuff. I saw that Gabby and Lauren said that you just got to bite the bullet and have the tough conversation. And that's the honest truth. And sometimes it's easier than other. It's easier said than done. Even as open and free that Pastor Troy and I are, there are a lot of life situation, a lot of things that you go through that hinder you where you think it would just be easy. There's times when I was telling Pastor Troy, I think sometimes men they never want the woman to think that they felt that way, so they can be very defensive. And sometimes you just want to have a good day. You don't want things to be bad. You just got out of the last 6 or 7 arguments and you're like, I don't want to have no problem.
Sun is shining, we holding hands.
Having a great time, nothing's going. And you're like, I want to tell them something that may be important, but that may not be the time to do it. And then it feels like it's never the time. So biting the bullet sometimes seems easier than it should be, but it's not.
I mean, you being friends, like, now y'all know, so we can make sure we clear the air right now. Y'all know my wife is an amazing cook. She cooks whatever she wants, whenever she wants. Collard greens, turkey wings, fried chicken, and home fries. She does a great job with home fries. I made a joke and said something, and but we're open enough to say, if she bring me something that she trying I don't like,
he will tell me.
Cooking is on the list, because some people have a hard time talking about the food, especially if your mom or your dad
made it a certain way
or was a great cook. Like if if your grandma was like the throwdown cook, and you marry a chick who can't cook at all,
and
like,
that mac and cheese don't taste the way they do.
It's clump clump.
The
Mac
last
clump
25, 30 years.
Potato salad clump clump.
Listen, I think as women and men, you just need to ask make it easier for your spouse or your significant other to ask you the questions. Like, I go to him and say, babe, how they taste? Tell him, be honest. What did you like about it? I open the door for him. He opens the door for me, babe. How was it? So I feel more comfortable with giving him the truth. And that has always been our relationship.
And that's for everything. You need to have a conversation about sex too.
Right.
Was it good?
Was it good?
Did you enjoy it?
What you need me to do different?
I ain't really like that. We need to try this right here. And for you couples that are going to get married, we are very frank. So if you are into oral, or if you want to dress up or any of that stuff, you better have that conversation before you get married. You better talk about it in your coaching session, your expectations in the bedroom. Because if you don't talk about that stuff, somebody is going to be disappointed.
That's good. TT said, her little sensitive self, she might be a little defensive and can't take the response. And that's true. Like, you have to know yourself. You have to know where you are and be honest. Like, there's been times when I said to Pastor, babe, I'm not in the best of mood. I want you to say something, but maybe I want you to say it a certain way because I'm feeling a certain way. Because it ain't even about what we talking about. It's maybe I'm upset because my knees hurt and I'm injured, or I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do. I've noticed that a lot of times when couples come in, if a man is feeling bad about their position, or they don't feel good about what they're able to do, you may find that they are very aggressive and feeling like I got authority and I'm in control of things, because they're losing control maybe on their job and everywhere else in their life. So who's the closest, right? Who's the closest person to them? Their significant other, their spouse. So they take it out on that person. So you have to look at the signs and say it's deeper than this meal. It's deeper than this shopping spree I went on. It's deeper than, I didn't take my shoes upstairs and I have them going up and down the steps like, part of my closet.
And that was the last one, disappointments.
Absolutely.
How to discuss when you're disappointed. How to discuss when things don't really go the way you want them to. How to talk about feeling overlooked. So one of the things that I wanted to make sure when me and Pastor Trina got together was she was a college student, a budding college student, doing well at Westchester when we got together. And then we got married. Then we got pregnant and she wasn't finished. And I was like, I'm not going to have her disappointed about that. She don't even know she's disappointed. Mm-hmm. She doesn't even know that bothers her. Mm-hmm. She don't know that it bothers her parents, because they wanted to see her graduate and put her degree on the wall. So nobody's really being honest about this, but I'm going to keep it in front of us to make sure that she finishes. Right. And it wasn't until, what you said, you put the cap and gown on.
No, it wasn't even then. It was when I walked down to receive my certificate that I realized how suppressed I had those feelings and emotions. I suppressed those feelings and didn't even realize it was important to me until I received it. Because I was thinking like, I'm doing ministry. I'm working in corporate America. I'm dealing with, training. I don't want to do no special ed. I don't want to do no professional education. I don't do any of those things. But he knew that I had worked hard and I was one semester away. I had gotten over the amount of credits that I needed. So I let that go to waste. And he pushed, he set it up. He did everything to make it happen. And it wasn't until I walked down and we were literally lining up, and somebody was helping me put my stuff on correctly, and I was like, yo, this is a big deal. This is important to me, and I still thank him to this day for him really seeing what I didn't even see in myself that I wanted. Who knows, when I get, 50 years old, would I be regretting? Sometimes you don't realize how important it is to you until later in life you're regretting things, And
it's important. Like, I plan on going back to school, but it's important to temper those things as well.
Absolutely.
So, like, I'm taking the coaching certs now, I'm doing my real estate classes, doing all that stuff, so that I can figure out how to get my feet wet again, mm-hmm. without causing frustration to the house. Mm-hmm. So, I was a good student. I was silly and did a lot of crazy stuff. I was athletic and all of that. But life, me making life choices have delayed, not denied, mm-hmm. me finishing school. So the conversation is, okay, I may have to wait until my daughter graduates from high school. She's the last one out. And then I'm going to start really tackling going to school. And it may take me 4 years to finish what I started. But, mm-hmm. With the support, mm-hmm. with the conversation, I can get over that disappointment, if it is one. You know what I mean? Really understanding, business disappointment. We've had some really tough conversations about business disappointments and things that we wanted to do and heartbreaks in business. And knowing how to talk about that stuff so we can get over it, and get better with it, and being honest with each other, because I have the tendency of just going all out. Like, I'm just like to the moon and back with it. Sometimes I got to dial it back to make sure that we're doing it together. You know what I mean? And that even sometimes when she has great ideas, I don't want to overtalk her. I don't want to overload her. So I temper myself to say, hey, and I have the conversation, how do you feel about this? What do you want to do with this? We watch couples do stuff like this, and we be like, they didn't talk about it. They talk about it before they did it.
You have to plan this because, I'm married to someone that he's a talker all day, all night. I don't care what it is, he's going to talk. I'm a talker. I thought I was a talker. He's a talker. So when you go on and try to disseminate information to a group of people, sometimes, and it when you're doing a live, people are watching you. They don't know you. And, so if he's talking and stuff like that, it's like, I'll let them talk. Why I gotta talk? So we have to literally plan out what we're going to say so that it doesn't seem like, oh, she doesn't have anything to say, or he doesn't have anything to say, or he's not interested, or she's not interested. You know, those are things that I'm not saying it's scripted step by step, but it's just like, okay, what you going to talk about, what I'm going to talk about, and then we're able to have freedom to flow. We've learned each other with cues to know when somebody wants, but that's all through years and years of doing this, you know. But in the beginning, we had to plan it out so that it could work well.
And we've talked even today. We was like, okay, what you gonna wear? You gonna wear a sweatsuit? Okay, I'm gonna wear a sweatsuit. You know, so we both look casual. One ain't got on a 3-piece suit, the other one got on a sweatsuit.
Right.
Like, you know, we talked about our appearance. You know, if I say I don't like certain hair, I'll let her know I don't like certain hair. If she tell me I want you to have a beard for a while, I wear a beard for a while. If she hand me a piece of gum, I say, is my breath a little tart? She be like, yeah, man. You know, I be like, do I smell like it's morning and it's afternoon? You know,
listen, preachers know about that. You get the, you know, the breath after you preach for a while. That's why them mics be smelling like that. You be hollering and screaming and stuff like that. You know what it is. So you got to make sure you fresh, you know. And sometimes you don't realize it because you've been talking and screaming and hollering and hooping and doing all of that. So, you know, you have to remind her, get a mint, get some gum, get this. It's not that you have poor hygiene. It's just you've been doing something that, you know, you've been drinking coffee, you've been eating onions.
And that could be the entrance way into another conversation, saying, hey, babe, when you're not drinking coffee, I've checked out a couple of things. I caught a couple whiffs, and I was, you know, like, babe, my breath, like, before I had coffee, like, yeah, and I want to make sure that we find out, like, maybe it's your teeth, you know, it's your stomach, you know, you haven't been to the dentist in a while, or whatever it may be, and then it becomes concern.
Right.
And it's like,
and I think it's if you don't embarrass that person. Like me and Pastor, I'm not going to tell you what our little code words because you don't need to know. You might find out. But we got little stuff that we do that are code words for each other to let us know, you know, when the lips are ashy, when you got crusties in your eyes, when you got a little, you know, a little booger or something, you got a little hangman in there, whatever's going on, to keep each other's the way they need to be. It's important. And another thing with disappointments, when you're connected to a dreamer, somebody that is a dreamer, it is important on both sides. One, because that was one thing, like, you know, Pastor, like he said, he can go to the moon and back. That was the one thing that was
big and often.
He dreams big and often. And I had to really find out how I could let him know that I was interested, because I didn't want him to think that I was against, you know, in the beginning it was like, I always felt like, you know, the party pooper, the fun police, I'm coming against the vision or dream. No, I'm the type of person that's going to make sure we got everything. I'm counting up the cost, everything that we need. So we had to think of things that could work, so that we could be on the same page.
That's good for all you MLMers, your multi-level marketers who are chasing the dream, that want the dream to come alive, and you're trying to use that small business to do that. Sometimes your spouse is not in the business with you, so you got to invite her into the dream, or invite him into the dream, and then they become a part of it. Make them a part of it. You know,
absolutely.
Because if you don't, it's not that she didn't care about what I was talking about, but I had to involve her in the dream, invite her in the dream, and then get her input into the dream, and then understand sometimes she didn't feel like dreaming.
Right. Sometimes not only didn't feel like dreaming.
Sometimes I didn't feel like dreaming.
Sometimes, listen, you didn't talk about 7 different dreams. Can we finish the first one before we get to the 7th one? Come on, let's be real. Let's complete the first one before. But he's a person that casts vision. It's like, okay, what I need to do to catch up? You know, okay, we working on this, but he's already 5 or 6 steps ahead of me. But I'm the person that makes sure it's whittled down, it's perfect, it's usable, it can go forth, you know. And you have to realize your position in this relationship, because if I didn't, he would keep talking. Like, now I'm mad because he's talking to other people.
The key to that is results bring better responses.
Absolutely.
So if you really want your spouse or your girlfriend or your significant other or your fiance to respond to your dream, you got to get some results.
Absolutely.
In some area. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I know you might not make $1 million in this business, but can you make your initial investment back?
And that's why I keep on being drugged and dragging around with Pastor Troy, because he got results. You know, and one thing I know, I don't want to miss the boat because he makes it happen. So, like he's saying,
one of these things gonna hit, baby. And you don't want to be acrimony.
No,
that movie is great. Could you imagine how she felt when he got that check?
And I think even more than anything, she listened. Sorry for the beeping over there. Somebody's car is going crazy. But more than anything, I think the problem was that wasn't all just her feelings. She let a bunch of people talk her out of her blessing. A bunch of people that had worse off relationships put seeds in her head for her not to make a true decision on her own. But of course, she felt horrible when that all went down?
I'm just thinking, like, you don't never want to be in a situation where you're not doing the things you need to do, and you're not handling the business you need to handle, and you're not getting results, and then you mad at somebody because they won't follow your dream. Like, you got to get some results. Like I said, make your initial investment back. Show her the worth of the business beyond just the money side of it.
Hey, Manny, how are you?
I mean, it's just so many different things that you can do from a relationship standpoint to get better responses. We're gonna win
all day.
We're gonna win all day.
Every
you know what I mean? And you also got to know when to hold them, when to fold them, when to walk away, when to run. And it's no failure in a try.
Absolutely.
We tried it big, and it's been 2 years in this business. It's been 2 years trying to start this. It's been 2 years with this, and I can't get it done. And, either she's going to encourage you to continue, I got you for that season of time, or she's going to be thankful that you realize we can't spin our wheels here anymore.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But we found that these 7 things have been hard to talk about. It's hard to talk about sex, hard to talk about money, hard to talk about somebody's appearance, hard to talk about if somebody has an odor or something wrong with them in the chemical imbalance of their body. It's hard to talk about each other's cooking. She can't cook, he can't cook, and then it's hard to talk about disappointments, like really things that I can't get over, I can't get over. And we've been doing this coaching for a long time. We're talking to a lot of couples. And you'd be surprised what people divorce over.
Absolutely.
They'll tell you they divorce them because she ain't cooking, she ain't cleaning, she ain't handling sex. That's not why they're divorcing.
At all.
They're divorcing because they have fallen out of love through lack of communication and lack of honesty with each other.
And honesty is so key. If you're not honest, you're having those same feelings, those same emotions. Every time somebody brings something up, the hairs on the back of your neck are raising, and you're not being honest about it, so you're blowing up, and he or she is thinking like, why are you making such a big deal about it?
It's not that big.
It's not that big, but it really is, because you weren't honest enough to say how you feel, how you felt, how you still feeling about it, so you got to be honest. You got to have the tough conversation. You got to look at yourself and say, what in me? Pastor Troy, like I said, he talks all the time. He's laying vision all the time. But I can't get mad if I'm not willing to let him impregnate me with the vision. Then I'm going to get mad when he gets somebody else pregnant with the vision, when he talks to other people. And then I'm saying, oh, I didn't know that was happening. Well, you didn't want to listen. And then on his side, he had to be cognizant that, okay, you're giving her so much and she hasn't had time to really process it, analyze it, and make it good, because that's where her strength is. We work together as a team. He has the vision. I'm going to figure out how that vision is going to work. So you overloading her. So now you got to take your time and make sure that she gets it, that she's able to really birth that seed forth before you move on. Doesn't mean that you're not getting downloads, doesn't mean all of that. Just find the times. Doesn't mean that you just give her one thing at a time. It just means, or give him one thing at a time. It means find the proper times when she sit, because Pastor come, I'll be reading something, doing something, he like, babe, guess what I thought?
Stop the press. I got something hot on the press. Just got a fresh download. Gotta tell you this.
2, 3 in the morning. And it's still hot off the press at
wake up.
7 or 8
I gotta tell you this. Wake up. But what happens is if I get it in her, it's incubated to the place where it can then grow. She might not even talk about it for the next 3 days. You know what I mean? And sometimes that'll frustrate me. I'm like,
you gotta be okay
I told
with
her that thing. She said that to me.
Like it was
she
important.
Didn't care about it. She don't care about what I told her. That's the honest God truth. And then 3 days later, she be like, hey, babe, I was thinking about that thing you told me. And here's what I think. We should do boom, 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 boom. She done drew the whole thing out in her brain. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. You know what I mean? But I had to wait 3 days. Resurrection. I had to wait 3 days for her to come back to me, because she was processing it. She was thinking about it. And one of the things I want to make sure I say to the ladies on here, don't ask the man what he wants to do until he gets a chance to process it. So y'all talked about something, y'all had a conversation about something, and men, we take a minute. We take a minute to process it and think about it and get it together before we can give you an answer. We can't give you an answer right this moment. You just asked me. Let me think about it for a minute. Now, bro, you can't wait for 6 months. But just give them a minute to process it and come back with a plan, or at least some suggestions to get it done. Pastor, you got anything?
I think you just always have to look at yourself and think about, a lot of times I see couples come in and they'll be like, well, she don't do this and she don't do this or he don't do this. But when you really get to it, you're doing the same thing to that person that you don't like being done to you. So sometimes if you just take a moment and say, what is my part in this? What can I do to make this better? Stop always worrying about who's wrong, who didn't do it right. What can I do for myself to make that better? And then be honest about what you need after you work on yourself. Be honest with that person, how this would work better for me. Like he said, I would say to him, babe, just give me that time, to process it. But a lot of times he's gotten all that time to figure it out before he releases it to me. And then it's like, okay, I want you to be ready on go. But I had to be cognizant enough to say to him, can I have a moment to process it? Because it looked like to him I was ignoring him opposed to processing it. So I think you just got to look at yourself and be open and communicate.
So if there's anything that we didn't put on this list that you think is a difficult conversation, make sure that you go and comment what your thing is that wasn't on our list. Let me just reiterate our list again. It was number 1, sex, money, appearance, odor, cooking, weight, and disappointments. So if there's things that you want to add to that list, put them out there, and we'll comment on them. We'll talk about them when we come back. We have a Men and Women's Bible study tonight, right?
Yes, we
are. Invite the ladies out?
It's going to be awesome. I want to invite the ladies out, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, too. But I just want to invite you guys out to our women's Bible study. It's going to be awesome. We're going to be able to talk about things that are directly impact just women, with women in the room. So it's going to be a great time for that. 2 Edmonds Avenue in Havertown, PA. So come on out. We start with intercessory prayer at 7, and then we do the Bible study at 7:30. So I hope to see you there.
Listen, pray for us, y'all. We got some real big stuff on the horizon. There's some things happening for Pastor Trina and I in the area of what we're doing right now. So be praying for us as God opens doors for us, that we can do things well and do things that would really be a benefit to the body of Christ and to people that just love the Lord, and also people who just want to have solid relationships. We got to also speak to the sacred and the secular. There's some people that don't go to church that this information may be the thing that draws them to church. This may be the thing that they say, I'm getting results based on the things that I heard from those 2 people. And they attribute everything they do to the Lord. So what?
I'm snickering because Martin said his thing is, suppose your partner has a problem passing gas around you.
Oh, Jesus. You need to tell them the truth, boy, and be like, listen, you funky. Like, that's funky. And you got to pass gas. What do you say? It's better out than in, I always say. But there's a way
to do it.
Say excuse me.
Say excuse me. Give them a heads up.
If it's really bad, go into another room.
And go to the doctor, find out what's going on, because there's something that's causing you to be at that place to continually do it. But if it's just a regular, situation, you got to get it out, go in another room.
And the first couple times, really, you chuckle about it, but then when you find out that person just really, they let it off wherever, you probably will be like, yo, like, I feel like you're going to do that somewhere else where it shouldn't be done. You're so comfortable with it. You're so comfortable with it. I don't want you to be that comfortable with that. That really is an irritant. Mm-hmm. It's not something that's supposed to be done in public.
Absolutely.
And had that conversation.
Now,
have we ever had gas around each other?
Always.
Sure enough.
It's a part of life. Listen.
Take that. Bam.
I was just going to say that, Gabby. Keep spray close. I got something called Pooperia.
It's called Pooperia.
Oh, the lemon flavor is amazing. I want to thank
Pooperia
is amazing.
And you spray it in the toilet, right? Before you do anything.
And then you can spray it in the air, too, if you have somebody that's
the smell.
Passing gas and the smell is the problem.
You better, and I said this, and I heard Jermaine Dolly say it on the radio in the morning, and he confirmed what I said. You really know you love somebody when they're in the bathroom with the door open.
Just a going, and just a talking.
You have a master bedroom with a bathroom in it, and they got the door open, and they can talk to you while they're going.
That's love.
That's love. Y'all
that's love right there.
That's a funk that's like, I see green poltergeist.
Listen, when you got somebody that can wake you up and it ain't the Holy Ghost about your sleep.
You ever been asleep? You be like, what is that? Oh, excuse me. I poop. And I always tell her, pretty girls not supposed to smell like that. Pretty girls not supposed to poop like that.
When your dog says, you know you got a problem.
You got a problem. You got a real problem. Yo, but for real, we love y'all. We want you to embrace each other every day, whether you are a dating couple, whether you are a couple that's engaged, whether you've been married for 40 years. You need to embrace every day, have conversations every day, pray with each other every day. Take your communication to another level and get results every day. And if you ain't getting results, find you a mentor, find you a coach, find somebody that you can look at and look to for guidance and information. And prayerfully, find somebody that's successful at it, and not just taking advice from your bull who's sleeping on the couch and you don't know it. Or the girl who has the guy who it looks good on the outside. We've had that too. A lot of couples try to come in and say, "Oh, we're gonna coach you into it," and then it looks good on the outside. That thing's falling apart on the inside. We ain't perfect. Our relationship has had many ups and downs and trials and tribulations. But what we do know is we put God first. We communicate with each other second, and we look at each other through rose-colored glasses. I have God's perspective on who she is. She has God's perspective on who I am. That way, I can see my faults before I see hers, and that helps us to communicate regularly.
Absolutely. Any other questions before we get off? We just want to give y'all an opportunity. We can't always answer everything when we're going through.
But we can bring it up in the next live.
We can bring it up in the next live.
Yeah.
So, we just want to give a couple more minutes. If there was any questions, any specific concerns that we missed.
Or anything you want to put on that list that we didn't have on that list. One more time, here's the list. Sex, money, appearance, odor, cooking, weight, disappointments.
That's what we've seen and encountered a lot with relationships that is hard to talk about. Gabby said, yes, Gabby, I know that's right. One at home, one at travel, and the one at work. That's the pooperia. That thing is amazing.
Yeah,
Whoever came up with that, if you don't know about it, you better get it. I have the little small one. It looks like a lipstick in my pocketbook. Then I have one at home. I have them all
that's
there.
That's product placement. We need to talk to pooperia.
Yeah, I need to because I could do. Listen, I told D, I'm ready to do a commercial for them.
That's product placement.
Oh, so they need to cut me a check. Pooperia.
I'm gonna look you up tonight
and let you know that I've been telling people about you
on the live next time we get on there. It's a product placement.
Honesty and fears. Absolutely, we'll definitely.
Honesty and fears, we can definitely do that.
Yep. Somebody said something really important. Let's see what that was. I'm at work on Tania. I'm at work being in a relationship and not being a burden to be able body in the relationship. We are seen by somebody because we love the way people see us. But that part is a weight to carry. Yes, when you're at work or people are looking at you and you don't want to be a burden of a relationship and people see you so many times you carry the weight of your relationship. And I think that's definitely, especially with social media, sometimes you have to make sure we have coaches, we have people that help us because you need a third person or a third view that can really speak to it without biases because you're fighting for your perspective. Yeah, without your filters. You're fighting for your perspective, so you're not hearing necessarily what the other person is saying, the way they're saying it. So having a third party, whether it's a couple, whether it's another person that specializes in helping you understand the other person is important because otherwise you're carrying the burden, you going around there faking the funk, acting like y'all together, but have a whole bunch of stuff and it's getting ready to implode from the inside out. So that's really important. Blended families. Yes, Sammy. That is one of our specialties. Blended families. We have an amazing daughter. She is my daughter.
Who we going to turn into a mogul?
Yes, she is my plus bonus baby. I love her so very much, like she came out of me. I know her mother loves her, but listen, that is my daughter too. So we do understand some of the challenges that we've had, not from her because she is just amazing. She's never been a challenge, but just situational stuff, living in different houses. How do you deal with that?
And just the story of how our families
came together.
At this point, like we sit down, eat together, we chill together.
Call each other,
all the spouses are cool.
Other.
Like it didn't start out that way. Mm-hmm. It didn't start out that way. And can I say it this way? When a man finds a wife, he finds favor from the Lord. So a lot of the things that I had to deal with were choices that I made, things that I did wrong, that I actually went back and apologized for to my ex-wife and told her the things that I really messed up, and she respected that. And her spouse is a great dude. And one of my prayers was that God would give my daughter a man in the house that would do the same things I would do. So it takes a lot of understanding. But why are you going through child support? Why are you trying to figure out how to do things? While she's trying to raise my daughter on that side and trying to get income and go to school and work, while I'm on this side struggling, trying to take care of the family. Let me tell you something. There's so much evil that can get in the middle of that that really is just frustration on how we going to live this new life that we've decided to take, the paths that we try to take, how we make it through that. So one of the big things we encounter is that when a man has a child outside of the relationship, that the woman normally doesn't want him talking to the ex, but he has to talk to the ex to communicate how they're going to raise this child and co-parent. And then we try to figure out ways where the new wife or the girlfriend or the fiance can be included from his standpoint, even though she can't be included in the whole conversation. Yeah. Because sometimes
it's the courts that keep you out.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just it's volatile and it doesn't work, and it's going to mess up your whole structure.
And her problem ain't with you. Her problem's with him.
Right.
But the issue is sometimes when you get involved as the girlfriend or the fiance or the spouse,
it makes it worse.
And he going back to child support.
And I don't want that to mess up my money.
Nah, man.
Leave my money right.
Leave her alone. Let me handle that.
So we could do a whole live. She said baby mama, baby drama, baby daddy drama. So we could do a whole live on that.
Whole conversation on that.
Somebody else, Jeff Smith, talked about the balance between love and career. We could do a whole thing on that.
Yeah, boy.
Definitely on that. And then I think Lauren said something about the singles ministry. She would love to have advice on how to really deal with dating and different things dealing with singles.
We definitely do that. Definitely
could do that. Somebody said past trauma from previous relationships or relationships. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because they do travel into the new relationship, how to deal with it, how to identify it. Sometimes you don't even realize that you're dealing with it. I think that's Naima said that. You don't even realize you're dealing with it. And sometimes it does affect.
Yeah, you dating Steve, but all you can see is David. You dating Steve, and Steve is a nice guy, but all you can see is all the hell you went through with David. And every time Steve goes to say something or do something that reminds you of David, you are flipping out, and Steve don't know why. Yeah, we could definitely have that conversation.
Absolutely.
Definitely have a conversation. So
I love the feedback. It's amazing. If you just got on, please go back, watch the live, share the live. Make sure you get it out there. We want to be able to help the kingdom. Make sure that couples and relationships are taken to the next level, because a lot of times it may be one thing that God allows us to say that really helps them get to the next level. So again, yes, Sheila, we talked about blended families. Definitely we are going to do something with that. But we want to make sure that you guys share this, go back, watch it. You can send us in our inboxes questions, stuff that you want for the next live. We want to make sure that the family is whole.
And if you're a pastor, you want us to come do something with you, man, want to do a collaboration, we are definitely open to do those things as well. We believe that synergy brings energy, so sometimes the best way to say some things to the couples in your church is for you not to say it. For somebody else to say it to them that you trust, to get the information into their head and into their hands so they can manifest in their heart. So we love you guys. God bless you. And enjoy the rest of your day in the sunshine. Me and Pastor are going to go for a ride and handle some business. God bless you.
God bless you. Love you.
Love you too.